talking about defiance here. Defiance.
Swing and a drive, left field. It's gone. It is gone. It is bedlam at the bank.
The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Podcast right here. You already know. Go fucking subscribe.
You are now listening to the 302 Birds Phillies postgame show with KJ McCoy, Ballpark Tommy, Dalt, and Fratty. Proudly powered by TickPick. Check out the link in the bio for $10 off your first order today. Let's take it to the show.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on in to the Phillies postgame show. This team is so darn frustrating. Ro, thank you for the support, my brother. But it's more determination, more care than the Phillies offense did tonight as the struggle against left-handed pitching continues. And the Phillies drop the series opener to the Washington Nationals 4-1. And I mean, it was awful. The Phillies 5 hits on 1 run. That 1 run coming in the 7th inning, and you were carved up by a guy that, he's been actually doing pretty good these last 4 starts, but a guy by the name of Foster Griffin. He's got a actually really solid ERA this season, 3.15 ERA in 16 games. He's got 89 strikeouts, and he had 9 of those tonight. I'm assuming that's a season high, if I'm being completely honest. But that is the Phillies. That is the Phillies MO. Appreciate you, man. That's actually my mom actually got it for me today. It's it is a great hat, and it's just in time because the Phillies All-Star game, or not the Phillies All-Star game, but the MLB All-Star game is in Philly in about a month, I think. So can't wait to rep the hopefully plenty of Phillies All-Stars in the very near future. Now, I will say, Trey Turner should not be one of those All-Stars in particular. I mean, he was awful yet again. 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts, and his batting average dropped to .224 on the year. And I don't know what you do because the contract's huge, just like 75% of the roster. But he's got to set some games. I know he just had one the other day, but I really think he should have a week off. He's got to reset. And no, he's not getting the what do you call it? The standing ovation again. It's just not happening. He's earned it once. I get that, but that's not something you do 2 times in a row. He's got to get himself out of it. And I really think in his place, to me, Edmundo Sosa should totally be taking over his spot at shortstop. He played left field tonight for a little bit, subbing for Alec Boehm, who was equally terrible. 0 for 4 with 1 strikeout. I mean, let's go down the list. Turner with 2, Schwarber with 2, Boehm with 1, Sosa with 1, Crawford with 1, Marsh with 1. Although Marsh did have the home run, the only run, the Marsh. What did the Phillies say? And I said it was a Marsh smash, if you will. There you go. And his batting average goes up to 311 on the year with an 833 OPS. Meanwhile, I mean, your second highest is Kyle Schwarber, a guy that does not hit for average. He's hitting 252. Otherwise, you've got 649, 645, 635, 833, which is Marsh, 675, 645, and Marshawn at the very end. He started at catcher tonight. That's a whole other thing because our backup catchers are a problem. At 328, a solid 107 batting average there. So, whole host of issues. But the Phillies' struggle against left-handed pitching continues. And I think if you are going to prioritize a bat, which I think you absolutely should, it's got to be for a guy that can hit lefties. The Phillies have had a lefty problem forever, and we definitely saw that tonight. Trey is a lost cause. He absolutely is a lost cause, and I would venture to say that this contract is one of the worst Phillies contracts in a long time. Maybe Nola is up there because Nola is not having a good year, but the Trey contract is absolutely awful. But he's not got a no trade clause. You can't trade him. For everybody's like, oh, trade Trey. You can't do that. You can't do that. I know teams would probably bite for the average because, in last year he was really good, but the decline has been just monumental. And I don't know what you do. Probably you sit him, but again, that screws over your outfield, which is one of the worst in baseball. Justin Crawford, we mentioned him. He started tonight, and let's see here. No, he didn't start. Excuse me. Sosa started in left field, and Crawford pitch hit. He's only hitting 240 on the year. He's got a 635 OPS. And then you've got Derek Hill, a mid-season trade from the White Sox. He's hitting 222. This outfield is one of the worst in baseball, and I 100% think you need to trade for a bat at the deadline. Yes, I know the relieving is an issue, and we'll get to that. It was god-awful tonight, but I think if you're going to prioritize, I think you need a bat, and I think you need a fifth starter. Now, I will say, the pitching from Rangel was really solid tonight, but here comes Seth Johnson, and this is why. This is why I don't trust the Rangel thing at all. Seth Johnson, his last time out, he had a really good outing, and everybody screamed, "This is he's going to save our season. He's our fifth starter." Well, look what happened. The Phillies were actually in striking distance after the March home run. It was 2-1. And what happens? Seth Johnson lets up a home run, and the Nationals make it 4-1. No hope for the offense, and it's game over. So this is why I'm concerned about Rangel. Yes, he had a very solid start today for the Philadelphia Phillies. In fact, he went 5 innings. Actually, he had a little bit of a rough start in the first and second innings, 2 solo home runs. But he actually really settled down, in my opinion, today. He went 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts. But we saw this out of Seth Johnson. We saw the exact same thing last start, and look what happened. So the Phillies absolutely need a fifth starter. And I will say, I've heard from a source that I trust that the Phillies are looking for back-end rotation options. And one name that has been floated around is Joe Ryan from the Minnesota Twins. And Joe Ryan has been one of the more consistent starting pitchers in Major League Baseball for the last, handful of years. He's having another actually really good year this year, and the Minnesota Twins want to trade him. It feels like they trade. I feel like they're absolutely in a rebuild. They traded Duran last year to us, but he's got a 2.99 ERA, He's 5-3 on the year with a 2.99 ERA in 16 games, 87 innings pitched, 99 strikeouts, and a whip about 1. And the Phillies apparently have been at least exploring the idea of bringing in, apparently, Joe Ryan. This is again from a source I trust. He's gotten some really big Philly sports moves in the past. So, I don't know. Again, this doesn't seem like a fifth starter type role. Joe Ryan seems a little bit better than that. Maybe he slots into the fourth spot where Luzardo is, or maybe where Nola is, and you bump Nola to that fifth spot in the rotation. I kind of like the sound of that. But also, that ups the ante, I feel like, in terms of the trade value. Now, would I give away, let's say, a Aiden Miller or a Gage Wood for Joe Ryan? I'm going to be honest. I feel like I would. I feel like I absolutely would. This is the year that the Phillies need to lock in. They need to win a World Series because you're not going to have baseball in 2027. His contract is getting older, and he has a 1-year, $6.2 million contract with a mutual option for 2027. Now, this could potentially mean, and we're talking about Joe Ryan here, we're potentially talking about only a few months of him being a Philly. But I still, in my opinion, I still think you absolutely take that risk. I think you take that risk 100 times out of 10, and you definitely have a shot at winning a World Series. Because again, the what do you call it? The core is getting older. We have struggled in the playoffs, and pitching is not the issue, but I kind of do like the idea of building a super rotation because you've got Wheeler, you've got Sanchez, 2 elite arms, 2 of the best arms in baseball. Otherwise, the starting rotation kind of falls off the cliff because I don't know if I trust Nola. I don't know if I trust Luzardo. And I don't know if I trust whoever is in that fifth spot. So really, in my opinion, you could argue that this starting rotation is not exactly one of our strong suits. So maybe it is more of a priority than people realize that you do go get a starter. Now, I'm not saying that the bats are not an issue. They certainly are, and I still think that's your number one priority. And it remains to be seen if you can pull off a bat and starting pitching with how our farm system is, is cooking up right now. We've got some good spots. Francisco Renteria, a guy that has been tearing it up at the young age of 17 years old. It's really impressive stuff. But you want to give up a guy like that for some really solid hitting, like a Jaron Duran type guy from the Red Sox, just to throw in. I'm not exactly sure if we're connected to him, but I mean that's a name because we've seen Adolis is out for the year. I don't know, but it is unfortunate. But the Phillies go into Game 2 of the series. And this is, again, a game that, hopefully the Phillies can right the ship. But I don't know. You've got Luzardo on the bump tomorrow, and Littell, who's got a 5.45 ERA on the year. And this is exactly what the Phillies do against bad pitching. They usually suck. Now, we didn't the other day against the Mets. They had David Peterson in Game 3. We actually torched them, which was an absolutely beautiful thing to see. But if you are a Phillies fan, you know that we seem to struggle heavily against guys with high ERAs. It's just a thing. It's just a thing that happens. But that being said, we've got Luzardo on the bump tomorrow. And Luzardo, like I mentioned just a second ago, he has been very shaky this year. He's got a 4.2 ERA on the year, and his last start against Miami was actually a very solid one. But you go back 2 starts before that, and you got 5 earned runs. He's actually been solid in the last 2 games, but going 5 2/3 against the Blue Jays in Toronto for 1 earned run, and then again 5 days later against Miami, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. So maybe this is something that he builds on, but he's just got a tick higher of an ERA than his career ERA at 4.20, and his career ERA is in the regular season is 4.19 on the year. So again, I really feel like we need starting pitching. It's just my opinion. But again, we'll see. The Nationals are, I hate to say it, I got to give them credit. This stat shocked me going to this game. They're the highest scoring offense in Major League Baseball. They're ahead of the Dodgers, which makes no sense at all. But it's the truth. So I'm a little worried that the Nationals are going to walk down Luzardo in game 2, and the Phillies may be in danger to lose the series. It's just they're the most bipolar team ever. You have one of the best series I've seen in a while against the Mets, and then you're on a path to losing a series to the Nationals. And the Nationals are only like a game and a half back behind you in the division. I was talking last night, or not last night, I was talking a few shows to, I believe it was Roe, who I don't know if you're still in the chat, but I was talking about that to him and the Exponential that, man, these teams like the Nationals and the Marlins, they don't give us a true fight in September, and it's usually only down to the Phillies and the Braves in the NL East. But man, look at the Nationals; they might give us a fight, especially with the Braves losing a couple of games in a row. It's gotten a little bit tighter in the NL East, and the Nationals have kind of snuck their way into the conversation. So I don't know. Can the Nationals keep this up? I don't know. Maybe they go for a batter, an arm at the deadline. I know the Marlins definitely aren't. This is according to the Exponential when we play them in that Marlins series. But I still think that the Nationals are, as of now, they're a threat, and it takes away games that you could have gained ground on in September. You're going to be scratching your head in September, like, man, instead of, let's say the first wild card spot, you lost some games in middle of June, and that screws you out of a home playoff series. The wild card series obviously being a 3-game set, and if you're that number 1 wild card spot, you host. And so little things like this, little games like this, I know it's June, but this can matter. This can absolutely matter. And this is usually the time that you heat up. The Phillies usually heat up in the middle of summer. And to potentially, and again, maybe the Phillies prove me wrong more. I hope they do. They probably will prove me wrong because I am the king of jinxes. Right now, I'm not feeling good about game 2. I'm just not. But we'll see how things go. And Calvin, thank you for the support. It definitely it's a wild year in baseball. That's definitely that's definitely true. Yeah, I talked to the both of you guys about it. I think I talked about it with you on your on the Prono Sports Reds Mets post game from a while ago. Go check out I don't know if any Cincinnati fans are in here, but go check out Rono Sports on YouTube. Great content for the Bengals. Great content for the Reds. If you're somehow here, as a Cincinnati fan, which we surprised, but if you are, go check out Ro. Great content over there, and appreciate y'all for watching. And that's another thing. Steve comes in 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position, and that's another issue. The Phillies have struggled with men in scoring position for a long time. You need an impact back. I don't want this Rodolfo Castro stuff. I don't want this Austin Hayes stuff. I want an impact back, a guy that can make things happen in October. I think you can get away with a more of a fifth starter, but in terms of an impact, it's got to be the bat. This right-handed batting and our abilities against left-handed pitching is so bad, and this isn't new. This isn't new is the problem, and it's why I really think that Dave Dombrowski's the worst GM in Philly. I think he was worse than Maury. I think he's worse than Briere. Remains to be seen how Briere does this offseason with the Flyers. But if I had to give it a ranking, I'd go Howie. I'd go Briere. I'd go the Sixers guy. I would go Howie, Maury, Gansey, and I go Dombrowski at the very bottom. I think he's that awful. And he doesn't get the bat you need, and you also trade around really good prospects for guys that eventually bust. It's a sad state of affairs, and hopefully the Phillies and Jesus Luzardo can continue his great starting pitching in the last 2 days, last 2 starts, and the Phillies can get back and tie the series up tomorrow. Game 2 is 6:45 again. We're going to try to be all back on track tomorrow. But this is, again, I wanted to do a solo show just because I got in late from what I was doing. And I actually really like these solo shows. I have a lot of fun. So thank you all for watching this edition of the Phillies Postgame Show. Want to thank Nick's Pizza for sponsoring the stream. And thanks you all for watching. Thank you, Ro, and everybody in the comments for the support. And thank you, Calvin. If you're a new subscriber, go like, comment. If you're a new viewer, please go like, comment, and subscribe to 302 Birds. We try to do the best, and I would say we have the best Philly sports content in all the land. But thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with the regular crew. But thanks you all for watching, and let's go.
The Vikings.
Swing and a drive, left field. It's gone. It is gone. It is Bedlam at the bank.
The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Podcast right here. You already know. Go fucking subscribe.
You are now listening to the 302 Birds Phillies postgame show with KJ McCoy, Ballpark Tommy, Dalt, and Fratty. Proudly powered by TickPick. Check out the link in the bio for $10 off your first order today.